I appreciate it. I hope I have always, you know, tried to do the right thing out there. And, you know, who knows what the future holds. So we'll leave it at that.
Tom, I know that you keep saying that you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Is there any possibility that you would retire after this last season?
I would say it's pretty unlikely, but yeah, hopefully unlikely.
Pretty unlikely, then hopefully unlikely. But I mean, it just makes Ian Rapoport so difficult to think that that would be the way that Tom Brady, after all is said and done, wants to go out, or would be fine going out with that being his last pass. That said, you know the dollars and cents and the leverage that he appears to have in negotiations for the first time in maybe a very long time. You have the floor on this.
Right. No doubt he's going to be a free agent for the first time in his entire career. But, Rich, that was more uncertainty than we have ever heard from Tom Brady, ever. Anytime he's ever been asked about retirement, he said he wants to play to 45. For the first time last night, he let us in that he is not entirely sure. Of course, Brady has been pretty public, saying Giselle would probably like him to retire. And then there's this. One of the reasons Brady said probably unlikely, Rich, this is not up to him. So much of this is about, do the Patriots and Bill Belichick want to bring him back the way he played last month? It is at least a question to consider.
Well, there's other teams, though. I'd be stunned that Brady would have 0 takers in the free agent market. I mean, there would have to be some takers of teams that think that they have a shot right now to win a championship in the next year or two that would take Tom Brady. And you could also say that Brady, the way he played in the last month, it's not all on him. Or you could say, I mean, you've seen the film, it is on him. I mean, what do you think, Kurt? You think this is the end right here? Have we seen the last of him in New England? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know the answer to this, obviously. I thought it was interesting. You said, hopefully unlikely. Hopefully, almost like it was in somebody else's hands. I have a hard time believing he is going to go somewhere else and start over, because what we know about Tom Brady is he wants to play at a certain level. He's got a standard. He is not playing to do anything but win more championships. That's what it's about for him. Is there a suitor out there, not just a suitor that would want him to come and be a part of their organization, but that can win now and can win at that level and play at that level? It almost felt like to me are the Patriots going to do what they need to do to bring me back, because I want to play longer and I want to play here. And so hopefully it's unlikely that I retire, because hopefully they will pay me and give me the contract so I can stay here and be a part of what I've built.
You know, listening to it, I find it interesting when you listen to guys after games like that, and listen to guys like Slater talk about how much he appreciates all that Tom has taught him, not just about football, but also about life. I've been sitting and saying there's no way Tom Brady plays anywhere else. But after last night, I was like, man, I guess I was wrong. You know, I was wrong, because those guys were thanking him for all that he's done, as if they have heard conversations within the locker room or heard conversations from him that he will not be back. And that was the first time I was like, wow, I guess it really is over. And Tom Brady's going to be moving on or retiring. Rich, it's hard for me to see him play anywhere else, though.
How quick did it sound like he separated himself from the Patriots on the podium? It was great to play for Robert Kraft.
No, I know that, but because
it was just so interesting.
Look, he doesn't know right now. And it really does come down to so many factors. There's the contract and what needs to be done, apparently, between he and the team in terms of what dead money he might be if he's an unrestricted free agent going to the market. You read so much about what the contract is. Then the question is if not Brady, then who?
Yep.
I mean, would they bring in Steve, a free agent? Would they draft somebody? Jarrett Stidham, again, who they drafted. They put in a blowout victory over the Jets and then removed him because he threw a pick six. So much needs to be figured out on that front. And then there's the owner that will have to weigh in at some point on this matter.
Yeah, I can't imagine that he's going to end up elsewhere. I can't imagine. The only possibility is if Josh McDaniels says, come on, let's go someplace because you know the system and we can play. But that's very unlikely. You know, the couple of great players that moved on, the Joe Montana went to Kansas City, right? Brett Favre left the Packers, went to the Jets. They both prefer to stay where they were. And I'm sure Tom prefers to stay where he is. So I'm guessing because they don't have an Aaron Rodgers coming up, to replace him. They would go into a someplace they've never been before if they change quarterbacks right now. So I think New England sits down with Tom after this, all calms down a little bit and says, here, this is how we're going to build this team up for you, because he went 12-4 and that was discouraging for him. He wants to be way better than that. And this is how we're going to build your receiving core up. This is how we're going to build up your offensive line, the whole thing. And then let's talk about coming back here and finishing up your career.
It's very rare that you would think of somebody of Brady's caliber as a bridge quarterback. But maybe that's exactly what he can be right now. If they do have that guy, is it Stidham? Is it somebody else that they might draft right now? I mean, this is literally the next 6 weeks of a conversation in New England that's going to take us up to the new league year. It'll be red hot probably at the combine as we're leading up to that new league year. It's all in front of us right now because the Titans just won and done them. How about that? Taking on the Ravens team to wrap up divisional Saturday. That will start with the 49ers versus TBD. And now the Texans are going to kick off divisional Sunday. And then we'll figure out who goes to Lambeau based on this game later on today in Philadelphia between Seattle and the Seahawks. Omar Ruiz has been embedded with the Seahawks virtually all year long. Omar, take it away.
Hey, Rich, Greg Ward's emergence as one of Carson Wentz's favorite targets has certainly been a fun story to watch, a story Seahawks corner Shaquille Griffin is very familiar with. They competed against each other their entire college careers in the American Athletic Conference when Ward was a quarterback at Houston and Griffin at Central Florida. Griffin told me he didn't like Ward back then, but they ended up becoming friends, training together before the 2017 draft. Griffin witnessing Ward's early transition to receiver. Ward saying that it is crazy that this rivalry dating back to 2013 will now play out at the game's highest stage. Certainly a matchup to watch. For more now on the Eagles, let's send it over to Mike Garafolo.
Omar, the Eagles have been without Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, and Deshaun Jackson, and somehow the offense has been better, and somehow Carson Wentz has been better. When I talked to Wentz's backup, Josh McCown, he said, obviously you want to have those guys on the field, but without them, it's forced Wentz to take a different look at the offense, looking at it more like a chalkboard, X's and O's instead of the Jimmies and Joes, not worrying about who is lined up where, basically making the smart move with the football and taking what the defense gives him. McCown said when you do that as a quarterback and you trust your guys to make plays, it takes a weight off your shoulders. And you can see that weight is off Wentz. He and the Eagles offense flying high.
We are built for this moment.
I'm chasing a dream. You know the routine.
We have one opportunity, one game to go win the East.
Running, I get stacking, I spinach. You know the routine. You know the routine.
Fires, complete, touchdown. Eagles win, save the season.
Feel like Carson Wentz, I got the wisdom.
Rolling right, throws. Boy, what a play.
Great throw by Carson Wentz.
Unbelievable. Carson Wentz picked this team up by his bootstraps.
Running, I get stacking, I spinach. You know the routine. You know the routine.
Champions of the NFC East.
They believe again.
You know the routine.
You can make the case this is Carson Wentz's best year yet, and I know that he went 11-2 in the year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl to set him up on the 1 seed, but and then he got hurt. But the way that he finished up, if I had told you coming into the season that the Eagles would have essentially a mash unit on offense, that they would lose crucial elements of this offense, and yet Carson Wentz would be the one who answers the bell all 16 weeks, and he's the only quarterback not named Aaron Rodgers to win in Lambeau Field this year. That said, Steve, it's
crazy, Rich.
I know it's his first rodeo in the playoffs. It's been Nick Foles the last 2 years. What do you expect out of him today,
This is his
Steve?
time, 4 years in the league, first playoff appearance. Doug Peterson's a heck of a play caller. You know, we've got a handful of really excellent play callers in this league, and Doug Peterson's one of them. And I expect Carson Wentz, however, to be improvising quite a bit. Because with the supporting cast that he's doing now, Zach Ertz coming back, right, and Dallas Goedert, a couple of good tight ends, but the receiving core, they're going to get gloved. They're going to get covered. And he's going to have to extend plays and escape out of the pocket. And you're going to see him making plays with his legs, making plays with his arms, scrambling around like he does, running for his dear life. And that's what those splash plays have been on Carson Wentz. I think we're going to see a lot of them on both sides. Russell Wilson and Carson Wentz can be running all over the place.
And for me, I mean, I continue to temper my expectations. We talked about all the issues they've had and all the injuries and all the different guys. And I know we're looking at the stats there, and I just continue to look and go, he's not going to do it again, is he? I mean, can he do it again? But I'll say, I will not be surprised if he does it again. I mean, he has made so many big plays, and give credit to those guys around him. I know we kind of throw them to the side like, oh, they're just practice squad guys. Those guys have made a bunch of plays for him. He has given them opportunities, and they have stepped up and made those plays. So, once again, I'm going to temper my expectations because of all their issues. And I believe if he doesn't play well or they lose, he gets a bit of a pass for that. But I'm not gonna be surprised if he goes out and tears it up and has another game like he has, playing with great confidence, and he's making big plays, as you said. Ad-lib more than anything with all these different guys out there.
And I think that's how he wants to play. I think he's best playing like this. Really is. Think about it, guys. Remember a couple years ago when he was playing at an MVP level. Then he got hurt. Then everybody starts saying, okay, you can't do this anymore. You can't do that anymore. You got to get rid of the ball. Don't do this. Don't do that. Now that he's so depleted, everybody's like, do whatever you have to do. They're letting him get back to how he likes playing. And he's playing great football. I believe he's going to go out and have a great day. I think Seattle has to be careful here because this is it. Can you imagine this man putting toothbrush to tooth the last couple years, hearing all of this about Nick Foles taking his team to a Super Bowl? This is the only way he can erase all of this. If he gets this bunch anywhere near a Super Bowl, he erases all of that noise about Nick Foles. I think he plays well today.
And you went back to that year that he was in the running or probably the lead for the MVP. Why was he in the lead? Because of those special,
he was playing
crazy
like
kind of plays
he was playing
that
like
he made,
this.
and we're seeing those kinds of plays again. Just now, it's to guys we don't know.
Greg Ward, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and Boston Scott, who makes Darren Sproles look like Joel Embiid, right? I mean, he's
Well, and now the
he's
right
been
side of his
amazing,
offensive
right?
line's gone too, so there's another reason to start running.
Another one again. No Jordan Howard, no Lane Johnson, no Aguilar, no so on and so forth. There's Stephon Diggs.
There's another one of my guys right there.
The Maryland Terp.
That's my guy right there.
Big game in New Orleans. Just huge. Just a huge way to kick off Wild Card Sunday. Steve Wyche with the Saints.
Well, Rich, we know few quarterbacks in the NFL get rid of the ball as quickly as Saints quarterback Drew Brees, and few offenses are functioning as well as a result. Remember, the Saints are averaging 40 points a game over their past 4 games. The Saints head coach Sean Payton said this week that Brees' ability to process at the line of scrimmage and do it so quickly is why he's so good. He also said Brees' footwork to be able to diagnose and to get in position to throw the ball is why he's so accurate. Now, Brees said this quick passing game is going to be hugely important today because of the Vikings' defensive front and their creative blitz schemes are so aggressive, he knows the pressure's coming. Now, for more of the Vikings, let's send it to Tom Pelissero.
Steve, I asked Vikings end ever